For nearly 200,000 years, humans looked just like us. Same brains, same bodies. But they left behind no art, no music, no myth. Then, suddenly, around 50,000 years ago, everything changed. Cave walls lit up with paintings, beads shimmered, stories began. Why the silence? What finally lit the spark of humanity? Here's the puzzle. Homo sapiens existed for at least 200,000 years. Dress one in modern clothes and they blend in today. But for most of that time, the record shows only survival. What we don't see? The symbols of culture. No paintings, no jewelry, no instruments. Then, almost overnight, around 50,000 years ago, everything changes. Cave art, beads, bone flutes, even signs of open sea travel. It looks like humanity suddenly switched on. But why the delay? Were we missing something in our brains? Was there one magic mutation? Or have we been reading the timeline all wrong? This long silence sets up the mystery, and as we'll see, the answer wasn't a single spark. It was a much slower fire. For years, scientists thought they had cracked it. A mutation around 50,000 years ago, rewiring our brains for language and creativity. The focus? A gene called FOXP2, the so-called language gene. It was a neat story, but in 2007, Svante Pääbo's team discovered Neanderthals had the same version. That was a problem. If they had it too, it couldn't explain the cultural explosion. So the magic gene theory collapsed. FOXP2 mattered for speech, but it didn't suddenly make us creative. The truth was messier and far more interesting. Once archaeologists expanded beyond Europe, the sudden explosion didn't look so sudden. In South Africa's Blombos Cave, pieces of ochre with deliberate engravings date back 100,000 years. Nearby, drilled shell beads. At Pinnacle Point, humans heated stone for tools and harvested shellfish systematically, some layers dating to 164,000 years ago. Painted eggshells, bedding, glued tools, all showing creativity building gradually. The lesson? Humanity didn't wake up suddenly. The sparks had been flickering in Africa for tens of thousands of years. We just hadn't been looking in the right places. So why cling to the 50,000-year revolution? Because most digs were in Europe, and Homo sapiens only arrived there about 50,000 years ago. From Europe's lens, it looked like culture switched on the moment we showed up. But that's like assuming a band started the day their first hit reached the radio. In reality, they'd been playing in garages for years. Archaeology just hadn't checked Africa's garage yet. And here's something else. We weren't alone. For most of prehistory, multiple human species coexisted. Neanderthals mastered fire, built tools, buried their dead. Some of their cave paintings in Spain predate our arrival. Denisovans crafted refined objects like a polished bracelet, over 40,000 years old. Homo erectus engraved a shell with zigzags 500,000 years ago. We weren't the only thinkers. We weren't the only ones making meaning. Humanity was never a single chosen line. It was a whole family tree. So the real question is, why did our branch, and not theirs, carry culture forward? The answer lies in numbers. Ideas are fragile. They survive only if remembered. Picture a small tribe scattered across a harsh world. One hunter invents a clever trap. But if he dies before teaching others, the knowledge vanishes. That's cultural drift. And for much of our history, our numbers were shockingly small, sometimes just a few thousand humans worldwide. In groups that tiny, languages fractured, traditions faded, and sparks of creativity blinked out. It wasn't lack of intelligence. It was lack of scale. To keep culture alive, you need more people, more memory, more connection. Without that density, humanity's fire kept flickering out. Then, between 60,000 and 50,000 years ago, things shifted. Populations grew, climate stabilized. People clustered by rivers and coasts, food was plentiful. And for the first time, groups stayed close, long enough to connect. This was the tipping point. Ideas didn't just survive, they spread. Songs became traditions, burials became rituals, knowledge began to stack. Like fire, once humanity had enough fuel, it roared. Here's the humbling truth. Homo sapiens didn't win because we were smarter. We survived because we were more numerous, more connected, and yes, sometimes luckier. Our population nearly collapsed multiple times, dipping under 10,000. One eruption, one drought, one plague, and history could have ended differently. And we weren't pure. Modern humans carry Neanderthal DNA. Oceanians carry Denisovan DNA. We didn't replace our cousins. We absorbed them. We carry their legacy in our blood. We didn't invent humanity. We inherited it. What are we becoming? So what really happened 50,000 years ago? There was no single spark. The truth is richer. A critical mass of people, memory, and connection finally let culture catch fire. And once it did, it changed everything. We became not just thinkers, but sharers. But here's the twist. We weren't the first to wonder. Neanderthals painted, Denisovans made jewelry, Homo erectus engraved shells. We just had the numbers to carry it forward. So maybe the real question isn't what happened back then, it's what's happening now. If networks once transformed us, what might global connectivity be shaping today? What are we still becoming? So what do you think? Did humanity evolve through one spark? Or was it a slow fire that finally caught? Drop your answer in the comments, smash that like button, and subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive into history's biggest mysteries.